On today's show, are the LA Clippers young players able to get into the rotation this year? And will Ty Lue prioritize our young players? And are they also good enough? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Off-Season Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in the greatest city in the world, LA, and going into my 20th season as a Clipper fan. The Clippers, who also play in LA in a new stadium in Inglewood called the Intuit Dome. And if you want to find out everything about the debut season at the Intuit Dome, all you got to do is subscribe to Locked On Clippers. You can follow us or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. And hit the notification bell on this video or on this channel so you know every single time we post. And I want you to comment if you think the young players are going to get an opportunity, which young players you think deserve an opportunity this year, and if they're good enough to get an opportunity this year, will Ty trust them? We're going to be talking about all of this in this show. But before we do that, this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get deals on last-minute tickets. It takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. All you got to do is download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So here we go, new week. I promised you guys 4 episodes last week instead of 3 because I only did 2 the previous week, and we did that, so that was awesome. I hope you enjoyed them, and I'm going to keep trying to do 3 a week till the month ends. And this week we got a special one. After this one, on Wednesday, I'm going to be having Adam Osland on the show, who is our radio host. He's been on before, and obviously I know a lot of you guys are familiar with him. He's been doing these Clipper Talk interviews on his own channel with a great cast of guests, several of which we've had right here on Locked On Clippers, including our play-by-play man, Brian Seaman, the voice of the Clippers. So go check that out. It will be like a double header. I'm going to be featuring on his channel after that Wednesday episode of Locked On Clippers. So it'll be really fun. But let's talk right now about the young players. So when we look at the young players in the Clippers, we're talking like Terance Mann. No, I'm just kidding. Terance Mann at this point, that's a whole running joke about him that people think like he's still young. Like, is he going to have a breakout season? Let me just say this, and I was asked about this on Locked On Fantasy Basketball with the GOAT of Locked On, Josh Lloyd. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. It's like an extensive preview on the Clippers this upcoming season. What I'll say is this. Terance Mann is not going to have a breakout season to me. I think he can only just get marginally better and become a better version of what he is. And how does he do that? Well, keep getting better defensively, laterally, understanding things, not getting lost as much off the ball, communication, all that, point of attack, screen navigation. I feel like I'm not saying he's ever going to be this, and I don't think he will be, but Drew Holiday, he got so much better defending over the course of his career. Like, he wasn't some crazy defender when he first came in. He was okay. He was good. But by the time he had those last couple of years in New Orleans, he was known as one of the best guard defenders in the league. And I'm not just using Drew Holiday as one example, but I've seen guys get better at defense over the course of their career. I think he can maybe improve marginally on that end of the floor. And then, obviously, the three-point shot. I thought at one point he was going, and then experience decision-making and confidence. I think it's crazy. People don't talk about confidence when it comes to improving your game because it's not something that can be measured in statistics. It's an intangible. It's internal. And people don't like having these conversations because they treat NBA players and these guys like robots, and they don't take into account that this is a human being playing this game. And anybody that's actually played sports knows the mental side of things and how important it is. Terance Mann, a lot of his problems are up here mentally. He loses his confidence in himself sometimes when he misses a couple of shots, and it's because he's an emotional player and he cares so much. And I love that, and I can relate to that. But the more confident Terance gets, the more unshakable his confidence becomes, that's when we'll get the best version of him. And right now, Terance Mann is not really a young player anymore. I just kind of addressed him because he's like the one that everyone's like, what about Terance? What about Terance? He's 27 right now, and he's literally going to turn 28 by like opening weekend. So he's essentially going to be in his prime. So it's now or never for Terance. I'm not saying he's not a good role player. He's fantastic at what he does, but he can get even better at that. That 3-point slump last season, that was rough. That was really rough, and it was all because he lost his confidence. I kept saying to you guys on this show, he's not a bad 3-point shooter. It's going to come back around, but when will it come back around? And it came. It came back around, but if we hadn't gone through that stretch, yikes. I mean, he would have definitely averaged double-digit points. So the thing with Terance this season is if he's allowed to start again, which who knows what the coaching staff will do. We do have more options this season. We could start Norman Powell, and then play Kevin Porter off the bench. So there's a lot of avenues. We can probably explore that possibility and those scenarios in another episode. But the thing with Terance is let's say he is given the chance to start again. He should average 10 points. I don't think, and it was looking like in 2022, we were trending potentially to this direction, that we wanted Terance Mann to become more experienced as a ball handler, to handle the ball in pick and rolls and stuff like that. And I actually don't think that the reps were bad in that 2022 season. That was actually his best season to me. He would come off screens for the mid-range and knock them down sometimes. Of course, he would miss them sometimes, but he would make them sometimes. And that matters. He's also a very solid passer on a live dribble. He always sees open guys and doesn't hesitate to pass. So we saw some potential there, but he doesn't have a great left hand. He doesn't have the most wiggle in his game. He's not the shiftiest and doesn't have the best handle. And yeah, he's better off the ball attacking closeouts and whatnot. And I think he's realized that that'll be his role in the NBA. So I don't think we're going to develop him anymore as a pick and roll guy. So I think Terance's next step is to just get more consistent with the three ball and get more confident now that you're approaching vet status in the league. I mean, not really in terms of years, but in terms of age. You're going to be 30 soon. Okay. I don't like saying that because Terance is what, like 2 years older than me? It makes me think I'm going to be 30 soon. But whatever. You got 2 more years before you're 30. You're in your prime. So let's get it going. Now, for the other guys, right? I mean, Amir Coffey. This will be his 6th season. And I don't necessarily think you can consider him a young player either at this point. He's 27, right? He just turned 27 this summer. So he's basically in his prime. So I think he might, the exact same thing I said about Terance. That's Amir. Got to get a little more confident, more consistent with the three ball, maybe just more consistent in terms of performances. And then, because I don't see him getting better in the pick and roll. And we were exploring point Amir at times in that 2022 season, especially after we traded Bledsoe away. We were really doing point guard by committee or playing point guard by committee. And we saw some good pick and roll chops from Amir because just like Terance, he's got a good basketball IQ. He makes the open pass, or he finds the open man, he makes the pass, but he doesn't have the most wiggle. He's not the shiftiest. And Terance is more athletic than him too. So I see Terance Mann improving marginally more for the rest of his career than Amir, but who knows? That's just a guess. I don't think either of them are going to really take a huge step. They can just only get marginally better at what they are to become the best version of themselves. So they're not young players. The young players are... We don't have Brandon Boston anymore. Jeez. Cam Christie, No, I'm just kidding. Cam Christie, Kobe Brown, Jordan Miller. I guess you can say Kevin Porter at this point. Let's see. Mo Bamba, I mean, he's 26. So even though, he's been around for a little bit now, I wouldn't say he's a young player anymore, even though he wasn't drafted that long ago. But Kobe Brown, Cam Christie, what's his name? Jordan Miller. Kevin Porter's 24, so honestly, I would teeter around the young category there. He's approaching. I'm starting to look towards my prime category, but I would still put him in the young category, honestly. So my thing is with this, and then there's Kai Jones, who's 23, and then Bones, who's 23. So let's go Bones, Kai Jones, Kevin Porter, Cam Christie, Kobe Brown, and Jordan Miller. So 6 guys, right? 6 guys. The main thing about all these guys is, does Ty Lue trust them? We've seen that Ty Lue will or is more open to playing young players than Glenn was. Glenn Rivers did not play young players. None of our draft picks really got a chance. Ty has given Terance Mann a chance in year 2. Ty did give Amir Coffey a chance in year 3. He's a little more willing. But I think the toughest thing about a situation like this, people think that Ty Lue's not like a good guy or is not good about playing youth. I think what people just don't understand sometimes is when you have a win now team, it's very hard to be a young player and get in that rotation, especially when that win now team probably didn't draft a first rounder, a high first rounder, a lottery pick. So usually it's lottery picks that are getting into the rotation. You know what I mean? Not just like you think a second round pick is getting into a rotation for a championship contender. That's not realistic. Even a late first rounder is not. So it's hard to integrate those kind of guys because when you have guys like Kawhi and James Harden who are like trying to win a ring, and Paul George even, that like these guys don't have rings. They're in the prime of their careers, latter halves, twilights, whatever you want to call it, of their primes, and they still want a ring. They still can compete at a high level, at the highest level. You're not quite ready for that yet. And you working through your mistakes is hindering them, the highest earners, from what they want to do. And you're never going to get priority over Kawhi or Paul or Harden as a Jordan Miller. So it's all about Ty's trust. But it also depends on how good is our team. So coming up, who are the guys that have the best chance to actually get into the rotation? I'm going to be talking about that next. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When your schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. You know, I'm so tied up right now. Like, even though it's summer, I've started coaching like my club basketball team with my friends, and we're going all out because, you know, I love this stuff. I love the game. I want to help kids, and I love being around it. It also puts the ball in my hands more, all these kind of things. But I want to do all these things for Dime Dropper, and I want to see my friends still, and I want to live still, and there's so many things going on. When you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. It makes you organize things, maybe speak to someone that can give you some clarity. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in the NBA, and Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right, so speaking about the young players and do they have a chance? Well, what I said in the first segment was it all depends on if we're a win-now team or not and a championship contender. And here's what I'll say to that. I think we're a win-now team, but I don't think we're a championship contender. I think we're a team with Kawhi. If you have Kawhi Leonard and James Harden at this stage of their careers, you're a win-now team. You're not building for the future. That's not the goal, right? We're not a championship contender, though, is the problem. So, for two reasons. One, I mean, are Kawhi and James Harden okay with that? But I've also mentioned this throughout the last couple of weeks. Do they think that we're a championship contender? Because all that matters is what they think. If Kawhi and Harden think that we're a championship contender, then the way we're approaching the season is going to be like that. Let's say they don't think we are as of now. Well, we're still a very good team. But then there is a potential chance because the rotation's also not as good if you're not a championship contender. The reason I'm saying that is because it's a good team, has the potential to be very good, but I don't think we're a great team. That gives an opportunity for somebody to slide in. The question is where and who. So let's start with Kevin Porter Jr., who's proven the most out of all six of these guys on an NBA level. He's averaged 19 points a game, 5 assists his last full season, and he's 23 years old. Obviously, I've talked about the off-court stuff. I might do even more on Kevin Porter, bring Jackson Gatlin from Locked On Rockets on the show to talk about how he, felt covering him and what his experiences covering him were, and more clarity on him as a basketball player. But I think he's the one that's proven the most, right? So let's say, where does Kevin Porter potentially fit into things? Well, Bones Highland would have to be traded, which I think is, imminent at this point, which sucks because we all like Bones Highland. We wanted him to get a chance. We traded for him, and he never really got an opportunity. I think starting Norm might be the move to make space for KPJ, because I think Norm, Chris Dunn, KPJ off the bench. Having KPJ and Norm, it's not great defensively. It's not. And I think KPJ could be used to run that second unit, honestly. But then you're going KPJ, Norm, Chris Dunn, and then maybe Amir. Oh, no, Nico, right? Nico, and then Bamba. So then Amir would be taken out of the rotation. So this is the question with Ty Lue, especially considering the way that we've built this roster, which is with a defensive focus. Are we going to take Amir Coffey out of the rotation for a Kevin Porter? Is that something that you want? Let me know in the comments, actually, fellas. Would you take Amir Coffey out of the rotation to put Kevin Porter in there, but then you have a bench of Kevin Porter and Norm, which is not great defensively, and potentially Mo Bamba in there as well in lineups with them, and these potentially are 3 negative defenders here. So, especially when we're trying to go defense first. Can Chris Dunn and Nico Batum just bail us out? And by the way, if that's a lineup on the floor, KPJ, Norm, Chris Dunn, Batum, and Bamba, I'm not very confident that's a good lineup in the NBA, especially in the West. So, there are things to consider. Do I think Kevin Porter Jr. will get a chance? Honestly, fellas, I can't tell you. I really don't know. I truly don't know. I don't think he has the best chance, though, honestly. I think the guy that has the best chance of getting in the rotation maybe is Jordan Miller, because he did so well in Summer League, and he could essentially just replace Amir Coffey. I've always said that it's coming down to training camp for me with those two. I don't know if that's the approach that they're going to take, Ty Lue and the coaching staff, but that's what I would do, because he played so well, and he's got a lot of the same qualities that Amir has. Lefty, athletic, can get to the rim, can attack closeouts, but his 3-ball looked super good, and his aggression looked great. Granted, it's Summer League, right? And Jordan Miller's 20... Is he not on the roster? What's going on here? Oh, there he is. 24 years old. So he's not the youngest, right? It's now or never for him. He's 24. Amir Coffey's 27. Hey, competition for places is a good thing. Then there's Kobe Brown, who I don't know if he's got a better chance than KPJ. By the way, I could be wrong about all this, and KPJ could get the most minutes out of all these guys next year. And I'll tell you what, if Kawhi's out, I promise you KPJ will be getting minutes. Because what I think we'll do then is Norman Powell will start. So let's say the games we load manage Kawhi. This also probably just deserves its episode in itself. But James Harden, Norman Powell, Derek, and Terance starting lineup. It's small, but it's probably the best thing we can do. And then Zoo. Then off the bench, you have Chris Dunn. You have KPJ. You have Amir Coffey or Jordan Miller. And then Nico Mo Bamba, which is much more balanced. But I think Kobe Brown's got probably the third best chance. So Kobe could offer us, some shooting. He's got a high basketball IQ. He's strong, solid defender. But is he good enough laterally to stay out there? And can he knock down the 3-ball at a high enough clip to warrant being out there over guys like Amir? Because that's really what this is. Guys like Amir, you're fighting for places. It's not about can you make shots here and there. Can you do better than the other guys? And he's not going to be a better on-ball defender than Amir. That's for sure, Kobe Brown. But Jordan Miller, you never know. Maybe he has a chance. Cam Christie, he won't be getting in the rotation this year. I think it'll be garbage time, and multiple guys are hurt. He'll spend some time in San Diego with the Clippers, the G League affiliate. He'll get some reps, but it's not going to happen this year for him. And then Kai Jones, he's a really interesting one because I think Mo Bamba obviously is going to be the choice to start, but if Mo starts not playing well or if one center goes down, then Kai Jones' opportunity, if he can guarantee that deal, remember, he just has a training camp deal right now, nothing guaranteed, then maybe he can show himself because he's so athletic. He's got potential. He's still only 23 years old. But yeah. So there's a lot of people out there rooting for Kai Jones to get a chance. I really am indifferent. I just want what's best for the team. But what I will say, if Zubac gets hurt, we're screwed. We're screwed. Coming up, though, how important is it to incorporate these young guys this particular season? Going to be talking about that. Come in up. I got to tell you a little something about Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So I'm trying to go to a Dodger game very soon, and I'm going to use Game Time and Game Time Picks to see if I can. Game Time Picks is the move. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so to close out the show and to summarize what we've talked about, can the young players get a chance? I think they can. Will they get a chance? I'm not so sure. How important is it for them to get a chance? To be honest, I think a little important, but like this is the sad reality, guys. Like I'm just gonna keep it frank with you. I want to build for the future because I think this is cooked, right? I think that we have no chance of winning a championship, 0, with this roster, and mainly because no matter what trade we make, you're not gonna get someone better than Kawhi, and he's the biggest question mark every year. So I can't sit in front of you here and act confident about this particular team. I am thinking about the future, but I don't know if these guys are the needle movers. I don't know if these guys are not franchise players. I like Kobe Brown. I'm rooting for him. I love Jordan Miller, and I'm rooting for him too. But Mo Bamba, Kai Jones, these guys are not bones. These are good players, but they're not going to lead us into that next era. We need draft picks for that or to get a young player through a trade. And right now that's not happening. So until then, you're asking these guys to hopefully try to make an impact on a win now team, and they don't always have the time and reps to get the growing pains and to work through those. That's what I'm telling you. I think Jordan Miller has a great chance to potentially replace Amir Coffey in that backup 3 role. But then there's the Kevin Porter Jr. argument. I think those are the guys with the best chances. Kobe Brown, though, who knows? The coaching staff could really see more in Kobe Brown. I just think his size is a little different. It's like he has like the size of a 4, but he's not a 4 because he's like 6'7". However, in the NBA today, a lot of guys will play 6'7" playing the forward, small ball. So we could see him out there with Nico in a small ball kind of set, or even with Bamba out there, Nico, Bamba, Kobe Brown front court. See, you need a really good offensive front court with that, a backcourt with that, because that's not good offensively. I mean, there is a chance because because James Harden and Kawhi are our only shot creators, that Kevin Porter gets more of a look than I'm thinking. You know what I mean? He's a very talented player. But who knows? I'm just kind of really team Bones over KPJ. Not because I think he's better, but because he's ours. He's been ours for a couple of years, and I feel bad for him that he hasn't gotten a chance. And KPJ has a questionable history, regardless of the incident with Kyrie Gondrzick. All the other stuff, the tantrums he threw. He was a problem at USC. I'm a USC fan. He was a problem there too. So I don't know. I'm not really ecstatic about rooting for him particularly, but we'll see. If we're just talking basketball, we only have Harden and Kawhi as shot creators, so we might need more help there. And Kevin Porter could help out with that. But I overall think that Jordan Miller has the best chance of those young guys. We'll see, though. I'm letting everybody know there's a chance that you don't see any of them in the rotation regularly. Let me know what you think of that. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA Sports, and NBA content coming all week long. Wednesday, Adam Osland will be on the show. I think that episode will be recorded on Wednesday, so it'll probably be out at night. I'm just letting you know that as a heads up. And then I'll be on his show right after that on his channel. I think it's Clippers Talk. And remember, you can always, and you should always, after this, listen to Locked On NBA, where the season never ends, providing national expertise with a local perspective. You can find the link to Locked On NBA in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Make sure you comment on this video and subscribe and hit the notification bell so we get up to 6,000 subs. We need 6,000 subs to show everybody that Clipper Nation is for real. The age-old proverb continues. Have a great week, Clipper Nation, and keep enjoying your summer and without stress. Because when it gets going, it can be stressful. Go Clippers.